everyone, welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily's coverage for Comic-Con. We're here for day 2. We're checking out Guild Wars 2. I'm standing here with Colin Johanson, one of the developers at NCSoft, correct?
Yeah, at ArenaNet.
At ArenaNet. So yeah, we just kind of met. We barely know each other. I just figured out your blood type, which is good. But we're doing something a little different here today. We're not doing an on-camera interview. We're actually doing a developer walkthrough, sort of, kind of a live commentary. So this way you guys can actually see the gameplay, and Colin can help me through the game, because I'm not really the biggest MMO player or even fantasy player, but this game is something that I bought a PC for.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is seriously one of the reasons why I built a PC, because this game, every time we see it, it looks really good.
Thank you very
much.
And
it looks like it plays like a game more of what I'm used to, something more action-oriented.
Yeah, that's definitely what we're shooting for here. You know, you'll see already, just right off the bat, skills can be used while you're actually moving around. You can actually dodge and roll out of the way of attacks. Right. You have ground-oriented attacks. You have attacks where you're leaping through the air and dropping down to do damage like that.
Right.
That's a huge difference from what you find in a traditional MMO, where your character's kind of stuck in mud and you're standing there just hitting buttons. Our core design philosophy behind our combat is to get you looking away from all the UI and all the health bars and all the crap that's moving around on the outsides of the screens that you see in a traditional MMO,
right.
And to get you looking at the actual combat in the middle of the screen and watching what's going on. Mm-hmm. So it's a really more immersive experience for the player.
Yeah, for me it feels like you guys took the idea of what a traditional MMO is, or what we know, and made it a bit more accessible in a way that it's like, I like the fact that if I move the character, there's a good chance that I have a chance of dodging and moving, and it's still at its heart, it still feels very fantasy-based and RPG heavy. Is that true? I mean, it's not just an action game, right?
No, definitely not. I mean, we have an extremely extensive RPG experience. One of the, we have 3 areas in the MMO space that we're really trying to innovate on, and combat is one of them for sure, where we want to get that action-oriented combat experience into the game. The RPG experience is another one. We think traditional MMOs have really lacked the true RPG character progression that you would find in a great RPG. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people who play RPGs don't want to play MMOs because they feel like, oh, it's this giant game with thousands or millions of players running around. Mm-hmm. We're just going to ruin the experience for me, and I don't get to really play an RPG anyway.
Right.
So we've really seeded a true dynamic personal story into this game, mm-hmm. where you create your character, you fill out a biography, and based on the answers that you give in those questions, that determines the personal storyline of your character as you play through the game. And it continues to branch and change, like The Witcher 2, or a really great RPG game where you actually make choices that have impact on your character and mm-hmm. actually make a difference. And that's really important to us, to try to to have that experience for them, so people who love RPG games can get drawn into this genre.
Right.
We have over 60 feature films worth of voice dialogue recorded for Guild Wars 2, so that we can really have that rich, true RPG experience.
Yeah. Well, going back to what you were saying about the whole kind of MMO vibe, that's probably the reason why a game like World of Warcraft didn't work for me. Because it forced me to play with other people, and I'm very antisocial, especially online. Like, if I play on Xbox Live or anything, I mute. I don't like to talk to people. And I feel like this game is kind of made for me, because I've always wanted to get into something with this kind of style. But it's like, oh, I can't beat this dungeon, or I can't do this instance unless I have, a paladin and a death knight with me, and blah, blah. I don't know what I'm talking about at this point, but I know the jargon to get by, sadly. But how does a typical quest go by? Because I know it's not just a box of words that I'm going to skip anyway and just go into a mission, right?
Yeah. So we have, I was talking about your personal story first, which is kind of that's the story of your character, and that happens in instances that you and your friends can go together on.
Right.
And then out in the open world, the explorable world with all the other players, we have dynamic events, and those replace the traditional concept of an MMO quest, where you go, you talk to a guy, you get that big wall of text, you run off, you do something, you come back, you get your reward.
Right.
One of the biggest problems with those content types is that thing you talked about, where it's like, if there's other players nearby, especially if you're not very social, they can ruin the experience for you. They can steal your kills, they can make it harder to do the quest. And you see other players like, oh, god damn it, why is this guy here? He's going to ruin the whole thing for me. And that's not what you want, If you're playing this game with millions of players online, you should be able to play with them and have a communal experience that is fun. And you shouldn't need specific professions to do anything. So our dynamic events are these large events that happen in the world that dynamically scale based on the number of players participating. So if more players show up, there's more stuff for everyone to do. and these events actually change the world and have persistent meaning in the world. So an example that's in this map that we're running around in right now that you can experience, there's an army of centaurs that will go in and attack a town, and an event kicks off to save the town, and characters from the town will run out and find your player and shout in voice dialogue, help, our town's under attack, and they'll show you where to go. You'll see smoke rising in the distance, you'll see catapults firing shots at the town, you'll see centaurs running towards it. You never have to read anything, you never have to talk to anybody to do any of that. It's just dynamically happening in the world. And based on the outcome of that event, it has persistent effect on the game world. So if you're unable to defend the town, the centaurs will actually take it over. And a new event will kick off to liberate that town. And as long as they hold the town, all the merchants are dead. All the services of that town are lost. And new events begin to cascade off of that. So you'll get escort events to try to bring troops up to help liberate the town. You'll get events to launch counterattacks against the centaurs. You'll get events where the centaurs start attacking new locations in the map. The centaurs will go out in a forest and they'll start chopping down trees. They'll take the lumber back and build siege weapons to reinforce the town they took over. And all of these are dynamic events that are going on, changing the world while you are playing it for everyone to experience.
And these are different for other characters, right? Like, if I start off as, I know you've got a few different races, those events aren't the same for each class, right? Or is it usually the same for each class that you choose?
You mean the events the same for
each race? The story, because it looked like the stories were different for different characters.
Yes. Yeah. So the dynamic events are different across each one of the maps in the game. They have completely different lists of dynamic events that happen in them that change the world. And then your personal story, which is the story of your character, is completely different for every single race in the game. And each race has giant lists of different branching storylines that you can do as well. So right off the bat, there are 5 races in the game. Each one of them from level 1 has 3 completely different storylines that you can experience at the very beginning of the game. So there are 15 different branching stories from level 1 you can experience with a brand new character.
Gotcha. And just going back to the gameplay that is before us, I saw that our player here was fighting fish, and now she's putting buildings out there on fire. What happened here?
Yeah. So one of the new things that we're showing off today is our underwater combat. So when she was down there fighting fish, her skill bar changed out, and she had completely unique weapons that work underwater that are designed to take advantage of the 3D space that we have down there underwater. So she has abilities like she can trap people in chains and they'll drop to the bottom of the ocean. She can trap them in bubbles and it'll raise them up to the top of the ocean. She can put out big nets. That was one of the skills that she did a minute ago that actually traps some of the fish in it, and she can unload on them when they're caught in the nets. All that stuff is designed so that we can have the best gameplay experience underwater using skills that are tailored for the fact you have the Z-axis. And then when you get back up on land, you get your skill set that works up here. Right now, this is an engineer, which is the new profession that we brought here this week to show at Comic-Con. And the engineer is based on a lot of trinkets and gadgets, and using, they have kits that they can equip. So they can equip a grenade kit, and they can start throwing around grenades everywhere. They can equip a flamethrower and unleash fire from their flamethrower. So here's the flamethrower right here.
I dig that.
Yeah. They can put down walls of fire with their flamethrower that other players can actually combo off of and shoot arrows through that light on fire and hit other targets.
Well, see, I'm not totally familiar with the Guild Wars universe, because this is actually, I totally missed the first one when it came out. It just passed over me. But this game has been looking so good from day one that I'm immediately interested. I really like the art, the work, the style, and the weaponry. It has a very kind of cool steampunk vibe to it. I totally dig it. I like the fact that you have pirates that dual-wield guns and everything. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, some of these pirates are going to run up with broken bottles and start throwing them at you. The thief profession, this is obviously an engineer, but the thief can steal from other NPCs in the world and bad guys, and the thieves can rob these pirates and steal bottles from them and steal guns from them and stuff, and then beat them up with their own weapons.
This sounds awesome. Very cool. Well, I think we're coming down to the end of our demo here, but thank you so much, Colin, for walking us through this game.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guten Tag, everyone. We are heading to Germany in August to cover Gamescom 2011. Hooray! Be assured to watch our coverage on August 15th to 21st all over youtube.com/watchcinema. Auf Wiedersehen. See you soon. Bye bye.